Welcome, everyone, to Never Alone Live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Johnny, of course, joined by Krista, the Sober Barbie, and today we have a very special guest, Jessica I, retired UFC fighter and recovery. And not only are you in recovery, but you're an advocate. And before we get started, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna play a little video to kind of set the tone, if you will. So Megan, if you want to play that video, please.
You just threw your gloves down. Does that mean what I think it means?
Yeah, I think it's time. You know, like I've been a pro since 2009. You know, I've had plenty of UFC fights. I met Macy right after she won the Contender Series, and she was sitting by herself, and I could see the talent in her, and I invited her over to sit and talk with me and not feel like she was alone. And if I could give anything back in this sport, is we need to stop separating ourselves and help each other as fighters, project ourselves in so many ways. I've won inside the Octagon, I've lost, but I've spent my entire 20s and most of my 30s, like, I'd like to see what the rest of the world looks like. And dang it, Joe, can I get on your podcast one day?
Let's do it. But listen, thank you very much for all your entertaining fights inside the Octagon, and best of luck to you and everything you do in the future. It's been an honor to call your fights. Jessica I, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo! I have the chills all over.
Well, we might
man, that video is so bitter.
We might not be the Joe Rogan podcast, but you're on the Never Alone Live podcast right now.
Wow. Well, I appreciate no matter what who wants to talk about things, but yeah, man, it's so bittersweet to like even just watch that video and to think that was 4 years ago almost now. And it's mind blowing to, you know, see her and see that version of myself, right? To see that. And wow, what a beautiful moment. We'll wait for Joe Rogan. Eventually he'll have us on there. But yeah, cool life, cool experience, you know. And it's crazy. Obviously, I came back to fighting. You know, on some level. I haven't done MMA, but you know, at that time in my life, MMA needed to have like a closure. You know, I needed to retire from it for a while.
So let's get into it. Let's go back and we'll talk about, you know, tell us about yourself. What got you into fighting? What got you into the UFC, stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a crazy long story. And, you know, over the years, the way that I've told it, you know, essentially has never really changed, but it's evolved. But the main reason, you know, I got into mixed martial arts was, you know, I was a child abuse victim. You know, I was abused as a young girl and, you know, mainly by men. And I wanted to find an outlet. I didn't want to fall victim to addiction. I didn't want to see or be like some of the things that I had seen growing up. And I really fell full face into fitness, into mixed martial arts when I was 19 years old. I happened to meet a really good group of guys that were really already involved in the early years of the UFC. And, you know, I was super fortunate that I met them and, you know, found my way. I mean, back then, you know, there were no women in the UFC. Women were barely even fighting. I mean, shoot, you used to have to go to Blockbuster to rent UFCs to watch them, you know? So, you know, I was fortunate enough to meet the right amount of people and was able to develop such a strong career that, you know, Ronda Rousey came around and everyone, you know, was like, wait a minute, is the UFC actually going to bring women on? And they finally did.
That's amazing. So and you know, we talk a lot about trauma and trauma release, and a lot of people, you know, take that trauma and they use it in getting high and escaping, and you used it to whoop people's asses.
Yeah, you know, it was something about like, you know, where's the saying, you know, the idle mind's a devil's workshop, right? At least that's something I've heard. And I don't mind was the devil's workshop. And for me, that I don't mind and a place that I wanted at the time, I lied to myself in my early 19, 20, even throughout my 20s and being like, I don't have PTSD. That's a choice. And it wasn't until later years of my life that I was like, wait a minute, Jessica, that's just not true. And, thank goodness during that time I used it as an outlet, right? I did deny myself some level of understanding. Thankfully, during that time, it kept me so motivated and so driven. Unfortunately, the addiction that I've suffered from the most has been, my alcohol use. And even my exploring of other drugs throughout my career and being around the spotlight and, being a young person and being kind of exposed to that, lifestyle that, during those beginning years, I was so focused and believed in myself so much that I was like, I could do this. That really my addiction was in the gym too much. It was constantly in the gym. It was almost denying the fact that I had had other issues that I needed to deal with. Um, so yeah.
So as you got into your career in fighting, um, um, how did that progress with the alcoholism, with the addictions and things like that?
You know what's crazy is like I feel like it's kind of reversed, right? Like for me and where alcohol was because there was 3 times a year I would be fighting, right? So I would not be drinking for 90. So like if we did the math, 90 times 3, that's what almost what's the math? Oh my god, that's so bad. What is that
270
math
days,
on that?
270 days sober.
What is it? 200. Okay. 270 days out of the year, I was sober, right? I could guarantee that, because of all the years of fighting. And from the age of 19 until, 35, I knew I could literally count the days of what days I'd actually drank, right? It wasn't until that video that you posted, that I really faced on that there was nothing to stop me from drinking. And that's when the years, really became like, wow, or I should say those 2 solid years, it's almost brought me to this point of full sobriety, is that there was something to look forward to. I had a competition. I wouldn't drink, and then again, the things that showed me I had a problem would be the binging, right? As soon as the fight was over and we're talking for a week straight, 7 days straight, I'm drinking, right? That's a problem. That's me, not balancing my disciplines, with myself. So it really didn't surface heavily until, fighting was done, right? Jess is retired, right? She's, got her little bit of money. Now she's got free time. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with all that free time you have now? And then that's when it really I exposed myself to my own self that, I had a problem that I was able to keep almost almost in a cage, right? Because it was there. But then what was going to happen the next 20 years of my life, guys? Like, what was I going to do? I didn't have fighting, right? What was going to stop me from, not getting there? And unfortunately, I in that time, I got arrested twice, hurt myself multiple times, physically. I wrecked my motorcycle because of alcohol. All these little things started to happen that never happened my whole life throughout my entire career, you know?
This is well, I don't know what happened to the connection. I know we are officially off of Facebook and Instagram because I think of UFC copyrights for showing that video. But this is all being recorded and it's all on YouTube, so
Oh no.
yeah. But it's we're good no matter
They
what.
moved quick. They moved really
Yeah,
fast.
they didn't. I don't think they liked us for that,
They
but
don't want us. They don't mess around.
now we know. So okay,
Gosh,
so
yeah, I'm so sorry. Who knew that was gonna happen?
no, what are you sorry for? It's we didn't know that that was going to happen either. Since you were on it, maybe I thought that it would be okay. But uh, back into the conversation, Krista, what do you take from all this that we're learning so far?
I'm in awe of you because like just realize like looking back and reflecting on all that and like being able to see why you did certain things and that like there was always, you were just trying to escape it really with another thing and another thing, and now you have that moment of clarity and you're able to like see it for what it is, and now you're ready to really heal and grow. And it's really powerful from watching that clip, and then everything you just said, it's just very empowering. And like such a short time of recovery and you are already like realizing all that. It took me like 8 years to like get to that point. So that's really powerful.
You know what though? It's it's like, I think I had mentioned, most of the people have been following me know that a year ago I had said publicly, like, hey, I'm not drinking alcohol. I don't support alcohol. Has no place in my life anymore. It's bringing outside of me. And, alcohol was never one of those things. Like, I never tried to go out and fight people at the bar. You know what I mean? It was always traumatizing to my life. Or unfortunately, it came out a lot in my intimate partners, so my boyfriends, right? And that makes sense, right? I was traumatized by my father, the first love of my life, it makes sense because of all of the things I've done, all the different healing modalities, the different facilities, I went to try to seek help, to seek understanding, that I was still using alcohol on occasions, that over the last 45 days of being sober again, officially for like lifetime, like this is forever. Nothing is more true than to say that to myself, that everything finally makes sense. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty like standard in the way I think of things. Like if it makes sense, it works, right? Like if it's fixed, don't break it. So it's allowed me peace.
The self-awareness is the key, and recognizing, replacing one addiction for another, even though, and I'm a firm believer that not all addictions are bad addictions. And a healthy routine and a healthy addiction, it going, I'm a runner, and I've run a few marathons, and the 18-week training program, it's intense, and it's addictive, and but that doesn't give negative. Addiction is all about powerlessness and unmanageability. When something makes my life unmanageable, that's when it becomes a bad thing. When it, be it drinking, drugs, gambling, whatever, those addictions are the ones that bring you unmanageability. Bringing it and honing in your trauma into a healthy addiction of going to the gym and beating people up for a living. That's I don't know, that's not a bad thing. But then when that ends, that's the big part. Is what do I do then? And and now we're into, so you retired in 2005, and that's 21 years ago.
2000, no, 2022.
Oh, you required
2022, I retired.
2022. Oh, okay, good, because that's a lot of time in
Yeah,
between.
2022.
The so 2022, and in 4 years, that's when you had to find a new outlet, and you went after an outlet that's very common to go after, drugs and alcohol, because of the escape. And we get to escape the thoughts of the past. We get to escape the thoughts that we're not doing what we were doing before. I mean, it's all escape, right? But and then now, then we get the yets, these things that didn't happen to us yet, that lead us to our bottom, that lead us to that gift of desperation, where we actually get some humility. And I know you've touched briefly on it. And when we talked before, about the motorcycle accident, this was a kind of a God moment, where it's like we look at it at the time and it's like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that ever happened. But now, hindsight being 2020, that motorcycle accident where you survived, kind of pushed you to a place where it's like, hey, I have to look back and I gotta get to change some shit. I know I rambled there for quite a
Yeah,
while.
I think that,
I
unfortunately,
apologize.
no, that's great. You said it best though, but like, And unfortunately, due to how I have developed my character traits, right? Like we have character flaws, we have character traits, who we are as a person, not only who we are authentically to ourselves, but because of our trauma. Naturally, me as a person, probably one of my best qualities is I believe I can do anything. I can believe I can do anything. Like if there's a way, I will find a way to do it. And even down to the point at times it's negative, it's just to saying, what you're saying. So to be able to find myself, to be able to hold myself accountable to that same mentality so that I don't self-sabotage myself is kind of like there was an analogy that was once told to me about holding onto our balloon, right? And having this balloon, and basically that's what's keeping us grounded. And at any given time, I can let go of that balloon if I want to, or I can hold it. I have that choice of how all of it, how it gets processed, how I use it, and how I'm learning how to use that is not the same girl that used it at 19. I'm 39 now. I can't use the same techniques that I used back then. They have to evolve. And I've had time to practice and do that, and, I've been fortunate. I was able to come out of retirement and take a fight that was really fun. And it pretty much was very barbaric. Most people would say it's bare knuckle boxing, it's fist. But to me, it was therapeutic. As crazy as this sounds, as somebody who has felt fist on my hand, face from my father and the abuse, that it was like it was like poetry. You know what I mean? I was able to do it healthy. I didn't have a parasite, which is one of the reasons I retired from the UFC. And a bad parasite. I wasn't feeling my best. I hadn't emotionally healed that I got to come out of retirement, walk out to a corn song, just felt completely badass. And I got to do that. So if I never fought again, I think I could be okay with it because I got to come out feeling the best way I am. And now I'm alcohol free. I'm smiling all the time. I'm happy. I can be an outlet to other people. It's giving me the opportunity maybe.
Uh-oh. Her connection has been pretty
I
rough.
think we pissed UFC off, period. Okay. This is good stuff. I want to hear what else she has to say, but she's literally saying there's a silver lining in it all, and there's positive in the negative, and to embrace the negative. She literally embraced it, and retirement isn't for it might not be forever. It could be temporary, and from what I see, people who love something that they really, really love to do and they retire, they always go back. They always go back.
That's it. That they do. What do you should we end and restart? I don't know what we should do here because this whole thing has just messed up everything. Should we do that? I'm Megan. I'm messaging you.
Oh,
And
there we go. I was trying to get it back. Sorry.
oh, there
Can
you
you hear
are
me?
back. Yes. Okay. So you were right on a roll, and you were talking about retirement and all that stuff. I know we've got.
We're back.
We're back. So talk to me about,
Okay, we're back. Sorry, guys.
what does recovery look like for you? You've recognized that your character defects, you've recognized that alcohol and drugs are not the option. What do you do now?
What's crazy is like I just explore more. I find myself finally being like enjoying things like going to the beach, going to a mango stand. Like yesterday, I was down on Fort Lauderdale Beach, just walking around, being on the beach and being sober and not being like, okay, just because I got my workout in, let's go pick up a bottle of tequila, let's have cocktails in the afternoon. That I'm finding myself enjoying things more of just like again exploring things that like normally it was always like, oh, just grab a bottle, we're gonna go drink while we go do this activity. And by the end of it, you're just drunk, and then I'm tired, or I don't feel good, or it's leading to bad eating. And for me, it's like it's actually been probably what other people would say is like I'm really disciplined, probably almost a little anal to the point of like being like Jessica, like like it's easy to not do that because I made that commitment that I don't even really think about it, right? Like, but I found myself wanting trying to do more things like every day, find something different to do, something new to explore, a new activity to go do.
You know, retirement is tough for anybody, but retiring as a young person has to be extremely difficult. You know, and so finding a new routine and a new way of we just look at life different. And I know you get back in the gym, and I'm a big believer in using fitness, and I use fitness as a meditation. You don't use fitness as a meditation. You use fitness as a release. And talk about that, and talk about your new endeavor and new project.
So really it's gonna again wanting to help other athletes again in my position that transition to the next stage of life, right? Because it does happen a lot of times, right? Like most people retire when they're in their 50s and 60s. They've been at a long time job, they have this retirement, they have this whole thing set up for them through their 401k, whereas athletes we don't, a lot of times. Sometimes your retirement is the fact that your body just no longer in your 20s. Maybe you've blown your ACL too many times, and you just have to retire from that part. It doesn't mean you're retired forever. It doesn't mean you're a useless tool and you're just thrown away and you don't have value, and it's helping those, athletes. So I most recently started an organization called the Golden Eye Athletics, and it's going to be allocated for athletes and to be able to help athletes with transition and mental health work. I think mental health is obviously very scary for athletes, and and it's for anybody, right? But you take MMA athletes, you take some of these football players, you're only hearing about their mental health struggles after they've committed suicide or they've wrecked their car from a DUI. And, a lot of this is secretly done behind the scenes because we look as athletes as superheroes, somebody that is capable of doing something. In all reality, quid pro quo, what for what, you have the strongest human being, might be one of the weakest emotionally. And they just need to build those reps, do those mental reps, do those things that, will help them. So I'm hoping as I continue to develop myself, learn from people like yourself who are already in the industry of helping of individuals. I don't know how to bring these athletes together to be as vulnerable as I am and say, hey, look, it's okay to need help, right? It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be sober. It's okay to figure out what that looks like.
What did you say the name of it is? GoldenEye?
Golden Eye Athletics.
GoldenEye Athletics. That's awesome. And helping others is the
Mhm.
key. Helping others is the next phase, and so much about this. And let's we're going to back up and let's talk about extreme sports and addiction, because this is something big, and this is something that you know more about than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about like our physiology and our body a little bit and thinking about, when someone is a PTSD or SDPTSD victim, right? Your brain neurons get developed in certain ways. Your body gets developed in those younger years that manifest in our bodies later. When it comes to athletes, we train certain neural pathways, right, in our brain to be impulsive, to be that way, to be able to be react fast, so we've trained our brains that way. When we've added alcohol to the frontal lobe of our brain that controls our impulse, our emotions, to a part that's already been abused. If we're talking about football players, right, head frontal lobe trauma, boxers, you know what I mean? Like they're the ones that are naturally dealing with it already. And I think that they're the ones that are exposed to it the most, so that we don't naturally think about it, right? In that way, like you already trained that part of your brain to be a certain way, but then we're also damaging it at the same time. I mean, I think that it's something that needs to be taken care of more. Traumatic brain injury is very common in NFL and in MMA, that we're starting to realize how important it is to take care of it and take it seriously.
And with that comes addiction. right? I grew up in the 80s and watching the WWF and watching the Hulkamaniacs and the Randy Macho Man Savage and the Jimmy Superfly Snukas and the Ultimate Warrior, and look, I could go on and on and on. But that was
Yeah,
my
my kid has
childhood.
all the action figures right now. We're in a fighting
That
stage.
and it was so good. And you hear the stories now of these guys and the amount of drugs they did later. I mean, besides steroids, besides this, the amount of extra drugs. As I mean, they're so high, so intense that when they get done, they come down and they need something to bring them back up again. And I know that that's still kind of commonplace, right?
Well, it's one of those things. It's like we're watching stories about it. Like those guys are, this happened to people in the past to give us information about what is still going on in the future. WWE still exists. Those moves still exist. People are still getting hit that way. If those guys are where they are now, 25 years now from that, why would we not look at that information and be like, hey, if this is what those guys went through, this is almost, we're being told the future. We're being told to, hey, look, this is what can happen to athletes. This is what can happen. We need to be conscious of it. We need to be aware of it. And how many WWE stars could we say of some of the females that are out there right now that I think it's Natalie, right? Is one another one that's sober, right? Some of these girls who have said now since, like, hey, I need to be sober because of these things. And because I did that to my body, it no fault of our own, right? We enjoyed doing what we do and people enjoyed seeing it, but it's like being a carpet installer. Your knees are going to hurt eventually after 20 years. You know what I mean? Regardless of how you did it, you just wore it, you used it, you hurt it, just has been overused. So if we think about our brains and smashing it against a cage, smashing it against another fist, like we just have to operate in a way that says, hey, we have to take care of it. Alcohol and drugs have absolutely zero place. Not only in a healthy brain, let alone a damaged TBI brain for multiple years, by choice, because of our career choice.
And it's so right now, pain is very common throughout the entire country. And these pain pills are out there and people are getting addicted to these pain pills. And I mean, a UFC fighter, a football player, any sports player, a carpet layer, anybody, this is subject to anybody. And there's all these pain pills, and now with the introduction to fentanyl. Fentanyl is killing our society because of our pain, and fake pills are so prevalent, and overdoses are so prevalent. Fentanyl is now the leading cause of death for people 18 to 45. And it's all, then this is where we need to be shouting from the mountaintops awareness, because people who are taking pills and then getting pills elsewhere, if it isn't coming from a doctor, if it isn't coming from a pharmacy, it is most likely fake. And the cartels and the dealers and everybody is out there pushing these fake pills because they're using your pain against you. You're not taking a pain pill, you're taking straight fentanyl, and you don't even know it. And you're becoming addicted to fentanyl, or becoming addicted to meth, or becoming addicted to something else. And, this is where we need to be the biggest advocates of, hey, think about what you're doing, because it's not like when we were kids, when you could experiment and try some different things. No, now today it's in there,
Yeah.
and there is no more experimenting, because the tiniest bit of fentanyl could be a lethal dose. And this isn't just getting addicted, this is dying. And this is where I'm so glad that you're on, Jessica. And I'm so glad because Krista's a huge advocate as well. And today is National Fentanyl Awareness Day. So this conversation is extremely poignant and it couldn't have happened at a better time. Krista, go ahead.
I've been following Hulk Hogan's daughter, sharing on his what he was into right before he passed. It wasn't what took his life, but it made me realize, like, the doctors for the guys, the people, not guys, but men and women that are in these sports, these contact sports, you're getting doctors prescribing you, and they're not, the doctors aren't talking to each other, so they're just, putting a band-aid on it, here, and they're just taking it unwilling, and then one day the doctor just cuts you off. So what do? You go to the street, and the dealers and the cartels and stuff are trying to trick the people by just putting a dash of that into whatever, and it's scary. And that's why we got to talk about it. And I'm glad there's a day for it, because it brings up conversation.
I lost you. I
And
can't hear you.
Oh
this is
no,
not our day, Johnny.
Jessica, can you hear us? Oh no. So we're talking about, and she'll be back hopefully. Today is Fentanyl Awareness Day. We've been talking to Jessica, who is an ex-UFC fighter, and about extreme sports, head injuries. Everybody's on a prescription. Everybody's on a prescription, and this message goes for more than just that. It goes for anybody taking any sort of prescription medication. Oh, there she is. And she's back.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It happens. Every other live.
I heard I heard what someone said about Hulk Hogan and the doctors, right? You were saying?
Yeah. That his daughter was saying the doctors were like prescribing, and they weren't communicating with each other, and he was just taking what was given to him when he's supposed to. And his daughter went in and went through his bag and got rid of all of it, and like they got in a fight, and he came to a moment of clarity the next day, and he was like, I'm sorry for fighting with you. He didn't even remember it, and he didn't even realize. Like sometimes you don't realize what's happening because you're doing what you're told to do, just following doctor's orders.
I mean, Heath Ledger, right?
Yeah.
Heath Ledger was another example of that, of mismanaging of that. And again, I think that when you get to a position, right, like as an athlete, like you want to trust, you have to find the right kind of doctors to trust, that are going to give you the right kind of advice. And again, I did read that about Hawk, that they believed it to be a mismanage of medicines that truly end up ultimately, killed him. And it just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart that it's something that happens. But, athletes, as much as normal people, right? Like as normal individuals, like we're talking about fentanyl and then being able to buy it on the dark web and being able to get fake stuff, so accessible, right? They can get it right on the internet nowadays, right? Shipped right to your house, right? And then you go to these doctor, and then as you get that high celebrity level and you can just afford anything, and then you don't have people working together, it's the same thing on some level. Does it make sense? Like you're exposed to it at a low level, and then you're also exposed at a high level where you have people not even paying attention to the drugs they're even giving you to begin with, let alone on a low level, you're just getting whatever it is that you can get your hands on.
Yeah. Like I was prescribed a Xanax, but I should not have been taking it. But I was, because the doctor said so, and it got me in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble.
There's so many examples of
what's kind of crazy?
Go ahead, Jessica.
Well, no, it's almost like down to like you said, like you said the doctor gave you Xanax and you shouldn't have been taking them. Like it's almost to the point where like some level your doctor needs to have some kind of a background. He knows what it was like. You know what I mean? Like he may have done a rail of cocaine or two, or had too many drinks one time in his life to be able to say, okay, you don't need this. We have to find a better coping mechanism. We're not going to do this to you. We're not going to give you that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times we have these doctors prescribing medicines that they really have never even taken themselves, let alone know the side effects of them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, this is the epidemic that's happening right now. And I don't want to fight too much against doctors and pharmacies, because there's a lot of good ones. There's some bad ones, of course. There's bad ones everywhere. But the big thing is, and you actually hit on it, is the outside entities. You can go online and get prescription drugs all over the place. And then you pay for them with cryptocurrency. And now it is completely unregulated, completely illegal. And people are doing it every day. And there's nothing being done about it. Last year, the DEA seized 9 million fake pills, 9 million fake pills. And that's what they got 10%. That means that there's 90 million fake pills out there, and there's a huge customer base of just regular people, not addicts, people that have been prescribed a Xanax, people that have been prescribed Adderall, people that have been prescribed Percocet. They're all, if you're not getting them from a pharmacy, if you're not getting them from a doctor, they are fake. And you need to recognize that, and that there
Yeah,
is
it's the same thing as peptides, fake peptides, fake steroids. There's so many. You like just those same websites that are doing the pills are doing fake steroids. They're selling it to these fitness people who again think that they're doing the right thing. Again, not trying to spend as much money because of what, like you said, they were prescribed it, right? Like you can go online and get a thing of testosterone for $20, but you go to a real health lab and get it, it's $125. You know what I mean? So, like you said, there are good labs out there. I've been very fortunate. I've met an amazing group of people out here that are in that realm of wanting to create healthy labs, right? Shut down those labs that are like that are not making good stuff, that are not doing the right thing.
It's, and it's so important and this is why we need to talk about this. That's why I'm so glad you're here with us today. I'm so glad today is Fentanyl Awareness Day, and the conversation just coincides perfectly because this is what needs to be talked about. And with GoldenEye, with Never Alone, with every other nonprofit out there, with every company that's trying to help the world, this is what needs to be talked about. This is epidemic. This is and it's so sneaky. You think you're taking TRT, and who knows what you're taking. And I recently had someone call in, and they thought that they were hooked on ecstasy, and it turns out they're hooked on meth. They didn't know. They didn't know what they were taking. They were just getting pills and taking them. And this one is a lucky case to be alive.
They do make tests today that you can probably get from your local health department that are free, and you can, because if you aren't ready to quit it and you know what's in there, it's not what you're taking, but you want to be safer, you can test whatever you're getting. You can test a little bit of it, and it will tell you exactly what's in it. And then you can't use Narcan on yourself. So make sure you're not using alone, and you're with somebody who has. Nowadays, I would make sure they have at least 3 cases of Narcan, because they're saying that one case won't even touch a lot of the stuff that's out there. But there are ways to be safe until you're ready as well.
Yeah.
Which is scary, but it's the.
Yeah,
it's want to at least
but
keep
like
them
you
alive.
said, you don't know, but you don't know. Yes, exactly. And at least there's something out there to stop it from happening. Again, I live in Fort Lauderdale. I was down at the beach yesterday, and they were handing out free Narcan at the beach yesterday. The little keychains, right? Like the little top part that you put on, or that you shoot them with.
Yes. Yeah, and this is
Again, what's crazy is go ahead.
No. This is your interview. You got stuff to say. You talk about it.
No, it's just funny. I mean, again, I wouldn't even know how to use it. It's like interesting. They're handing out these free things all the time, and it's like I wouldn't even know how to use it even myself. So as somebody who's just, involved in it, it's like almost like, man, maybe I should do a video for people just in case you ever see it, because I wouldn't even
Yeah.
know what to do with it. You know what I mean? Like they're handing these things out to people, and I'm sure even in situations, people just kind of freak out. You don't know how to really do it, right?
Yeah, they're really supposed to show you when they give you one, but a video would be a great idea.
Narcan demonstrations.
Yeah, I'm serious. I wouldn't even know how to do it.
Narcan demonstrations, Narcan availability. These are all the things that we should all be talking about all the time, because you never know who is taking fentanyl that don't know that they're taking fentanyl. So, this is an opportunity for us to be there and be able to save people. Krista, so it was great. Krista came to Chicago, and I picked her up from the airport, and and right on her bag is a Narcan holder with Narcan in it. And I remember what you told me, and you said, if somebody's falling out at the airport, I'm prepared, and we all need to be prepared now. We all need to be vigilant. We all need to have Narcan on us, because in any place, in any time, somebody could be falling out. And, Jessica being a person who's at the gym all the time, you go to the gym, there's potentially someone there who's taking something that they don't know is fentanyl and could be taking a lethal dose. This is where we need to be on the ready, and this is where we need to fight this fight together. Okay, see,
I mean, again, crazy part about it is like, yeah, I mean, even recently, familiar. Are you hear me? Did it cut out? Can you hear me?
We got you now.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. But I don't know how much you guys are into social media or even knowing some of these things, but most recently there was a social media star that dealt with an OD that was starting to have issues. We were at a dirty boxing event here in Miami, and that same guy had been there, that clavicular. I had seen him, but there was another incident right outside the Marriott with somebody ODing in there, right? Like, so a lot of these things, like, again, are happening, and they're happening even at sporting events with people. And a lot of time, I hate to say it, but they're using it mixed in with usually cocaine. And you're seeing it a lot in these adrenaline junkie people and people that want that extra bit of energy. And again, like you said, it's so common right nowadays. Like, you're not getting the right kind of stuff, and these people are exposed to that. They think it's just a normal, hey, I'm gonna go party and have a good night, and next thing you know, they're OD'd. Right. And that's been happening. I mean, I've seen it very common here. And again, I hate to say it, but some of these social media stars, which devastates me. I'm like, this is what you want people to see, like.
A lot of people think they're invincible too. Like, it can't happen to me. It can't happen to me. And then you end up burying someone you love, or it is you, or, and it's crazy that you said it's mixed in with the cocaine, because around here, I've helped a couple people test just random bags, and they all popped positive for fentanyl. And the people know it's in there, and they continue to use it.
Wow.
So that's why it's to just be as safe as you can and keep planting seeds,
Well, this has been
and that's sad. And it's sad, like you said.
This has been a very I hope everybody who watches this, really gets to know the things that we're talking about, that they pay attention to this discussion about fentanyl. And I mean, this is we've had extreme technical difficulties. So I think we're going to have Jessica back once we get the technical difficulties figured out.
I know. Are you guys choppy too? Is it me? Is it been?
We don't see your face
the whole time.
We don't see your face.
You don't see me at all?
We hear you.
No.
Yeah. So this has been difficult, but this has been so.
You haven't had my face the whole time.
half the time, and it was blurry, but it's okay. I think
so. We're gonna.
Oh no.
We're gonna fix our technical difficulties, and we're gonna fix our technical difficulties. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna schedule Jessica to be on here again. And this time we won't play the UFC clip, which got us into a lot of trouble. If Joe Rogan is watching,
they ruined it from the beginning. They got us from the start.
We should have played that at the end, Megan. Now we know. But we're gonna do you have any parting thoughts before we shut down?
No, we'll get on next time with less technical difficulties. And I'm ready anytime. I'm available anytime in the afternoon to talk with you guys.
And we
Okay.
need to talk about how we can work together to really push this message out, and that's the key. Working together, everybody work together and love one another, help one another, and let's continue putting this good fight up. And thank you everybody for listening and watching. We've had Jessica on, and she'll be back, and we'll be able to see her hopefully then. Thank you everyone, and
Thank you.
we'll see you next time.
Have a great day.